Welcome back to Snackcast, folks.
Wearing the same shirts again.
So I was going to say the same thing.
Right.
So if you're not in the loop, Jerry, I say his name with disdain, is going on vacation. So if you tuned into any of the prior episodes on these vitamin Bs mainly, you'll see a couple that were in the same shirt, and we're being forced
to double up,
double and triple up so that he can go away for a week. I don't even know what this is, but
right.
So
stay in the dungeon.
No, man. In all seriousness, we have been making fun of him. Enjoy your week away. Just make sure you're paying attention to Slack in case we need you. All right. So vitamin train.
Yep.
This is the last of all the vitamins.
The last but not least.
I'm not sure if maybe we want to do a wrap up like in order. This important because get it here. Dun, dun, dun. I don't know. But this one is B12. Don't know why we go from 9 to 12. My guess is that there was a 10 and 11 at some point that got kicked out.
Yep.
So, but I don't even know how you say it. It's cobalamin, I guess. Cobalamin.
Sounds good.
Cobalamin. So I do know in the research I did that 40% of all Americans are deficient in B12.
Tell me why.
What I understand is that it's fairly available in healthy foods. The number one reason of deficiency is absorption.
Good.
Number 2 and 3, not necessarily in this order, would be, I'm going to have to be forced to look at my notes. Vegans. Vegans are usually deficient because apparently this is one of the few that is not in vegetables at all.
Right.
Vegan, digestive issues, and then call it what you want. It's either poor diet but the root cause is not enough good bacteria in the gut, probiotics, that are required to help absorb it.
So yeah, good digestion is what I got as well. If you have any type of gastritis, ulcerative colitis, celiac, Crohn's, low stomach acid, any of those issues, any immune deficiency issues that could cause bad digestion.
Okay, my source mentioned leaky gut. I didn't put it in my notes.
Leaky gut, IBS.
I don't know what leaky gut is. We've had this conversation.
Right. Yeah, I mean, literally
Is that just like all-encompassing of celiac and Crohn's? And
The difference between celiac, Crohn's, and ulcerative colitis are like, they're almost the same thing, but there's a difference in where it occurs.
And probably trigger mechanism?
I don't know about the trigger mechanism, but I know like where it occurs in the digestive tracts, the small intestine, the large intestine.
Colon, whatever.
Right, as you do different things. IBS, I think, is more of a throw. You can't diagnose somebody with colitis or Crohn's and or celiac and you throw the hand grenade. Well, you got IBS.
Yeah, it just sounds like fibromyalgia.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, you can't get, so this is interesting all by itself, right? Because we have a whole lot of others in the B camp that are taken out because of flours or sugars and everything else. And then further down the line, we have B12, which can't be absorbed because of disease function. So I will wonder if a lot of these the early Bs, if you want to call them that, it's like, all right, you can absorb the first bunch of the Bs because you don't have all these illnesses yet, but as long as you continue to do damage and you continue to do damage, eventually B12 goes out the window as well. It's the last of the Mohicans. It's the resilient one, right? Yeah. And then once you finally become B12 deficient, you're officially ill.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, that leads into these are.
I mean, because we talked about alcohol too, right? Alcohol was a big cause of all of those early ones. And how come you don't see alcohol on B12? Well, the damage is already done.
Well, and
I'm not saying you can't recover from it. I'm
not saying you're wrong, but I would imagine alcohol does affect B12 as well, even though the sources, go to different sources to kind of compare. So one of the he called them warning signs. And it was, I'll run through mine real quick. Low energy, lack of focus, memory issues. This is the one I'm going to circle back to. Autoimmune, anemia, dizzy, lightheaded, thyroid issues, and you're easily stressed. Those were all kind of warning signs. But specifically in the autoimmune category, I mentioned it already, he pointed out fibromyalgia, that it's generally linked to a B12 deficiency. It's personal to me. My mother was diagnosed with it, 15, 20 years ago. And to this date, I shared with her.
I was going to say, you still do B12s, right?
Oh, she does. Yeah, I was administering B12 shots for a long time, but I couldn't go there, as frequent as she needed. So her neighbor
daily
started helping.
She was doing daily?
No, it was weekly. But my problem was getting it spaced out. I mean, 3 kids, soccer.
No, I get that.
You know what I mean?
Can't help out your mom. I mean, come on.
I figured that's where you're going. So that one struck me as odd. And, my mother, she doesn't eat a lot of food. So I've been buying her steaks and stuff, and it mainly because of the B12, right? But I never made the connection to that and potentially fibromyalgia. The other interesting one was thyroid, right? We've talked about it before. The doctors are so quick to go, hey, your reading's out of whack. Here's something, Synthroid.
Right.
And oftentimes with the thyroid, it's not even the thyroid that's the problem, but the old testing mechanism is what they go by.
Right. So burning, numbing, tingling. This is another 2 that are extremely interesting. Tinnitus, the ringing of the ear. I call it tinnitus, but I know the pronunciation is tinnitus.
Represent.
Clinical depression. Mm-hmm. That one shows up like if you're always depressed or something is always going wrong, you probably could have a B12 deficiency. And this was one like to me that I think like similar to your mom's situation is like you don't just solve it, with high dose vitamin C right away. This is going to take a long time of taking B12 shots, eating right, getting the gut right before you're going to not be deficient right away again.
Right.
There's even talk about loading doses with regard to B12 that you gotta take 4, 5, 6 shots. And then I mentioned on the B9 that we just did, if you're not taking folate, it's like, all right, I guess the folate is equivalent of the train. It's the actual cargo train, and B12 is the cargo. And without the B9, it's not going to get where it needs to go. Well, I just kind of made it up. So. but they actually need to work together.
That's interesting. We know that the synthetic, of course, causes B12 deficiency. It's the other big thing that jumped out at me about this one is that the food categories. I think it's the only one, if I'm remembering correctly, that's solely derived from proteins, from meats.
Right.
And it looks like the redder the better. And I don't mean medium rare versus medium. I mean
right.
I've got liver as the number 1.
Man, I'm going to have to try to like it. You got to have to make some like liver jerky or something to make it like, maybe do that.
I have to try that.
Or if you can.
Google it first. And see if anybody else has.
Because the thought of like eating just, I feel like Dances with Wolves, Tatanka on the plains, like cutting the buffalo out and I'm eating the liver. No.
But we've had this conversation. I can't remember. Have you tried it?
Yes. I don't know. I don't remember.
Dude, I ate beef tongue once at a little roadside Mexican joint, and
Vomitus.
And it's tongue liver. They may not even be, but there's something outside of the regular cuts of meat that is a little hard for me to wrap my head around. If you've never had beef tongue, I highly recommend you run away from it.
Yep.
It was terrible. It tasted like sand inside your meat.
What was that movie, Funny Farm, with the lamb balls?
Oh, yes. What they call them, though?
Lamb fries. Lamb fries.
Lamb fries.
You got to get you some lamb fries.
That's nasty. They're probably very healthy for you.
I'm sure they are.
Reminds me of my days in prison.
But yeah, down to your liver, beef, fish, cheese. I shared this one with you last night. Nutritional yeast, as long as it's not fortified nutritional yeast.
I have to do some research on that. That sounds like it's bad for you. You sent it to me last night.
But yeah,
I think I said I'm intrigued.
Yes.
I got to research that a little bit.
That was what I heard. As long as it's not, it's a naturally occurring.
How are you eating it?
You put it on anything. It tastes like cheese. Put it on popcorn. You can put it in a salad. And it's loaded with B vitamins.
All right. I'm going to do some homework on it.
Now, there's a caveat. It's also loaded in fiber. So, yeah, you might get your B vitamins and be sitting on the pot for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. So we talked about a little bit about the probiotics. That's one way you can supplement, is not actually in the consumption of B12 or a B12 pill, but simply getting your gut right and supplementing with probiotics to help the absorption.
Right.
The other thing, apparently, there are a lot of B12 supplements out there that, what I read, they're fine for you. They're not like the synthetic B9. I don't know if you dipped into that any. I would, of course, recommend get it from the food, unless you're vegan or vegetarian or. Yeah,
I read some. Again, take this with a grain of salt, because I think I read it on a Facebook or a Reddit forum regarding B12, is that certain B12s can be toxic. So to your point, you better do your homework. I think the injectable types of B12 are fine. And then obviously getting it from food is fine. I mean, not fortified food. I mean, real food,
right.
Whole food. But I think there's some level of toxicity associated with some of the synthetics B12s. So be careful.
Vitamin B careful.
Vitamin B careful.
So, all right, man, that's about all I got. I had similar stuff on you, the red blood cell formation, cellular function, brain and nerve.
DNA,
on that
neuropathy.
Linked to anxiety and depression. I got that one. So
slow thinking, swollen tongue. I heard that one.
Yeah.
Swollen tongue.
I have those in the notes from a prior one.
I was going to say, you got swollen tongue?
Glossitis is the one, I think, for tongue, and then there's a different one for the lips. But I don't know, man. I see Will Smith after he ate that shellfish in that one movie.
Right.
So, all right. That's all I got.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Questions, comments, concerns, or to send Jerry hate mail for leaving us for a week. Hit us at snackcast@yes.fit.
Stay moving.
See ya.